Welcome back to School Bus. We're here this weekend to work on the ceiling. Last weekend we did a quick test to see what it would take to mount a piece of Luan. We are choosing Luan as our finished look for the ceiling because it's flexible and light and it maximizes the amount of headspace we'll have. So what we did is just throw up some brad nails. We went with 18 gauge brad nails to mount the Luan up into our runners, and they worked successfully in the center, but they did not down the sides. The reason that the brads did not work on the side is because there is a stronger force required to mount these up with the curvature that we have on the edge of the bus. So the brads that we did put up here were actually popped through the Luan, and that solution isn't going to work. So we went back to the drawing board to see what else we could do, and here's Bjorn to explain that some more.
Alright, so now that Lauren explained that we're going to be using Luan and that we played around with the mounting method, let's explain to you what we're going to try to do today. Our main goal is to come up with a ceiling, obviously, that looks nice. What that means to us is that it will be even all the way down. We're not going to have bulges in the ceiling. We don't want to be rolling down the highway and have the ceiling panels start to fall down due to vibration, anything like that. So we need something sturdy. We need something that is going to allow it to be flush all the way down, which will be a little bit difficult to achieve with the orientation of the foam and the runners the way it is now. And we just need overall more support than what the runners we have are going to provide. So what we decided to do was try a little home-brewed method. We picked up some 1/4-inch thick BCX plywood. Wasn't really special anything that it was a BCX, it's just what they had in 1/4-inch. And we had them cut it down to 2-inch wide strips and 3-inch wide strips. They're still the full 8 feet long. So it's the same length as the Luan sections. It's 1/4-inch, so it flexes very easily. So we're going to be able to put it up and flex it to the curvature of the ceiling, as you can see there. The special thing with being able to have this 1/4-inch plywood is that we can put a screw in this edge, and that screw will have enough holding power due to the greater surface area of the head of the screw to hold the wood to the form of the ceiling. Because we want a finished look on the outside of the wood, or on the bottom side of the wood, the part we're going to see, the Luan, we need that screw to be under the surface. So what this is allowing us to do is provide the primary amount of support underneath with a screw into the 1/4-inch plywood, and then we will actually mount the Luan, which is much thinner, on top of it. Now all the Luan has to do is conform to the curvature of the plywood, and that's going to be much easier to accomplish with two things: our brads and our glue. And for our glue, we decided to use Loctite Power Grab all-purpose glue. This is going to be our first time using this product, so it's going to be pretty interesting. We might do a little review of it. But the concept behind Power Grab is that it should be almost an immediate bond, providing a little bit of work time. I believe it's 10 to 15 minutes of work time, and you're not supposed to need any extra support while the glue's setting. So by using the brads and the Loctite, we should be able to hold the panels against these thin sections of 1/4-inch thick plywood. Now, we have the 3-inch sections to go in between two pieces of Luan, and that 3-inch section obviously will have an 1.5-inch overlap on either edge. So that will be between each section, and then the 2-inch section will be right in the middle of the piece of Luan. So we'll end up supporting the outside perimeter of the Luan as well as the center of it. So each panel should have adequate support. Now the glue is going to provide the primary support for the panel in the long run. In the short run, the brads are actually going to provide the most support. So the brads will hold it in place while the glue's setting. A week from now when we come back, the brads will be doing a lot less than the glue. Everything will be set up, and then when we roll down the highway, the glue will be doing most of the work. So that's the way we plan on doing it. Hopefully it works out. One of the things I'm a little nervous about is how thin the plywood is that we're going to be mounting into, being that it is only a 1/4 inch thick, but we'll see how it goes. So we will let you guys know, and who knows, maybe by the end of it we'll actually have a panel up in the ceiling. Maybe one, maybe more than one if we're lucky. So, talk to you soon.
So the first step is making marks in the ceiling where we're going to be installing the 1/4 inch thicknesses of plywood. And we know where we want each piece of Luan to be because we already made some previous calculations based on where the 2 hatches are in our bus in the front and back and how we could best optimize the amount of Luan that we have in the ceiling. So the way that we cut out the Luan, or are planning to cut it out, is to have it evenly spaced in the center and then a full piece of Luan over each hatch. Okay, now go.
Alright, so it's the end of the day. Wasn't all too productive of a day. We got a few small things done. We did get one of the panels up as promised, and you might be able to see some of the thin pieces of plywood we told you we were going to put up. We got some of those screwed up. That was a really quick and easy process. So actually putting these thin pieces up was great. One thing I think we learned about that is I don't think I would go with 2-inch wide pieces in the future. I would only ever use 3 inches or greater. It seemed that 2 inches was just a little too flimsy, so luckily those were only going in the centers of the board and the 3-inch pieces were going on the outside edges, but I would go 3 to 4 inches and not skimp on it because it is going to be a lot stronger. So when you're flexing around that edge, it helps having that extra strength. So the wood went up pretty quick, and by wood I mean the Luan. You might be asking, well, if it went up so quick, then why didn't we get it all done? But the reason for not finishing up, I think we could have done it, but we have to do some planning around the vents because we need to cut the holes that we have for our 2 fantastic vents before we put the piece of Luan up, or at least we are going to do it that way so that it turns out nice. We need to cut a hole in the shell of the bus. That way we can install the piece of Luan and then go on top and have a perfect cutout of where we need to cut out a hole in the wood and get everything up to line up nicely. So that's our plan for that. And so we did some talking about it. We had a big therapy session, figured out what we need to do, when we need to do it. And it's coming along. So next time we're out here, we'll probably be cutting holes for our vents and actually installing those while we finish the ceiling. So that will be pretty exciting, but it definitely slowed us down for today. I think we'll continue installing the panels as we did this way. The glue, by the way, was great. The power grab, it's Loctite power grab, worked phenomenal. We were able to roll some of it on. We had a little 2-inch roller, and we were able to put some globs on. What we did was we actually took a piece of wood, the shims. So we took a wood shim, and we would scoop a little bit up, and we'd actually put some big globs on, and then we would take a roller and roll it down so that it was pretty thick enough to get some good grab. And then all we had to do was lift up the piece of Luan, and we took our brad nailer with 5/8 inch long 18 gauge brad nails and went down and brad nailed all the way down each side and the center, and it turned out pretty good. There is a little bit of flexion in the center, but not much. I did turn on the bus to look at the ceiling, let it vibrate around, move the bus a little bit. Honestly, it looked really good, so we're happy with that. On the edges, where the greatest curvature is, it's not perfect, not exactly how we would like it, but it is pretty darn good, and I think it's going to be suitable for what we need. So I'm sure it could be done better. I'm 100% positive it could be done better. It would take a lot more time and you wouldn't get the curved effect. In reality, it probably would have been easier to either have raised the ceiling a little higher and done a flat ceiling, or done more of an angled ceiling and put a kind of like a polygon into it. So all in all, very happy with the install. It is actually, it did turn out very sturdy, and that's the part that I'm most happy with. So it's on there. It's definitely not coming down. And you got to remember, it's going to be stronger the more pieces we put up. So as we put more pieces of Luan up, it's going to get stronger and stronger. And then we're going to put the trim over the seams. And once we put that trim up, it'll be even stronger. So it's going to be like a grid and all tie in together. So, you know, for what it's worth, for the cost that it does, for something like this, and I think the overall aesthetic and look of it, really couldn't be happier with that. The other thing we got done today, which we won't show you, we'll show you later, which I probably am even more excited about, is the cap in the back. So there's a little junction box for our air system, and these charter buses are, almost every aspect of the charter bus is operated by air. So the windshield wipers, the brakes, the locks for the storage bays, the locks for the doors in here, that when the bathroom door was in here, the AC system had all the air obviously coming in, and they had blower motors for that. I mean, everything kind of revolves around the air. And when we took the bathroom out, there's been a leak back there for such a long time because one of those pipes hadn't been capped off. And it took a long time for me to find the right cap. Finally did, put it on, made sure it was on okay, but didn't actually take a wrench to it. Well, today, finally got back there, put some Teflon tape on it, just to make sure the thread's got a nice tight grip, and then torqued down on it, started the bus up, everything aired up perfect. Really excited about that. It's a huge relief. So we're gonna definitely show you a video of starting the bus up and moving it out, because we're gonna have to pull it out to get to the storage bays pretty soon. So it's going good. We'll show you the rest of the ceiling. Sorry we couldn't show you more today. Time just seems to slip away, you know. Time flies, and sometimes it's tough catching it. But that's the breaks, so. All right, we'll see you soon.